You're listening to the Write Project podcast and radio program, a show about writing and modern Newfoundland author culture. This program is produced and recorded at CHMR FM 93.5 FM in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, and is aired on other great stations in the province and elsewhere in the country. It can also be heard online at www.chmr.ca. I'm your host, Matthew LeDrew. Welcome to a very special episode of the Write Project podcast. Today, we've got a host of authors on to answer one of the most frequent questions that's asked of any author. We're asking them, as a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or patronus? And today to answer, we have on Amanda Labonte, author of the Call of the Sea and Supernatural Causes series.
Like an actual animal?
Yeah.
Or just what my personal one is?
Like your...
Like for a... But animals don't write. Like, I don't understand the question.
Well, like, when you're writing, are you a big bear? When you're writing, are you frenetic like a little weasel? Or
my patronus is crab with a knife.
Crab with a knife.
Yeah, I'm just going to stay over here. I'm not going to hurt anyone. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Have you seen Crab with a Knife?
I have seen
so
Crab
I'm
with
just
a
backing up. I just want to get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go over there. Don't follow me.
Yeah.
That's probably...
I've seen what you've done to the rest of my people.
Yeah, I'm just going to go over here.
Yeah.
Just don't come with me.
Yeah.
Stay where you are. I'm just going to go over here.
Yeah.
Don't you come with me.
Yeah.
Don't follow. Just going to go over here. But I mean, I think that's me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not be good at getting rid of Dementors.
No.
My Patronus would really... you stay over there.
Yeah.
Go after him. I'm going over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not a good Patronus.
Gotcha.
Don't bring me to a fight. I will bring a crab to a knife fight.
A crab with a knife.
A crab with a knife still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Lorena Dunn, who recently put out her first full novel, Ashes. Lorena Dunn, as a writer, what would you choose as your mascot?
You mean personally, or do you mean as an author logo?
Let's say both. I'd like to know how they're different.
All right. I think for an author logo, I would be partial to a dragon reading a book.
Okay.
Not
one of those illiterate dragons.
No, the type that enjoys reading.
Yeah, Sean Connery voiced dragons.
Wow, that was a blast from the past. Got a little nostalgic there, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Continue.
Well, yes, absolutely. Sean Connery style dragon. Yeah.
And for you personally?
For me personally, I'm going to say a bat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of dark and spooky, but also fuzzy and cute, and I just run around screaming a lot.
You're neither of those things. At least not from my very subjective point of view, but sure.
Yeah, you're my boss.
Yeah. Which is funny. It's funny that you say bat because I, when I was over to your place to discuss edits once, before, when we were allowed to go outside and to other people's homes.
The before times.
Yeah. In the before times, it was around Christmas, and the angel on your tree was a toy of Goliath from Gargoyles. And I kind of geeked out because that's a show that I miss a lot, and I don't know how it hasn't been remade yet. I guess only because it was perfect at the time, so why would they remake it?
Absolutely. No need for a reboot on that one.
Yeah. Although I would like a live-action movie from Jordan Peele, please.
Yes, please, thank you, please.
Yes. Yeah, but, so that's very interesting, and the more I learned about how much you liked Gargoyles, the more I looked at your work and kind of some of the things that you say and go like, yeah, okay, yeah, I could see how it was, like, formative, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was pretty obsessed. When Disney Plus came out, I immediately rewatched all of Gargoyles again, because of course I did.
I can't believe I haven't done that.
I can't either. You should go now.
Yeah.
Well, bye.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have Chelsea B., author of London Calling and Christmas Mornings. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or patronus?
Oh, a hedgehog, 100%. I have a hedgehog. I love her. She is...
What's her name?
Her name is Lumi.
Of course.
It's, I think, the Finnish word for snow. She's white.
Okay.
And
My hedgehog's name is Sonic.
all of my... listen, the online hedgehog community hates you.
Yeah.
Because you got no creativity.
I dipped him in blue paint. Is that healthy? He died soon after.
Well, it was worth it, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, all my family members call her Luna. Because they can't... It's been 4 years. They still can't remember her name. But that's a pretty good guess. That's a cute name.
That is fun. That's Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they sleep all day. They are up in the night. They don't really do much. They eat and they run.
It's like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. And they hate being around people and other hedgehogs. They're solitary creatures. It's fantastic. I envy her life.
Okay. What would your Patronus be? Same thing?
Probably a cat. I feel like a Patronus hedgehog would protect you from nothing.
Yeah. Curl up in a ball. Run away.
Yep.
Wait, you're saying hedgehog and I'm thinking porcupine. Those aren't the same thing.
They're not even related. Hedgehogs are more closely related
Well, we're
to
all
the shrew.
related. Everything's related. You're related to a banana.
Well, yeah, but I feel like I'm more related to a banana than a hedgehog is to a porcupine.
Possibly.
And their quills are different.
Oh, well then. Thank you very much. Next up, we have the author of Alligator and February, Lisa Moore. As a writer in your writing life, what would you choose as your mascot, avatar, or animal self, or Patronus, whatever you want to call it?
Okay, I'm just going to go way out there on this one.
Okay.
Matthew. So I don't know if you've seen that little video that went viral. Apparently the man who made it had recently died, and it was one of the first videos to go viral, so it's very famous. And he is shooting with his camera, video camera, a double rainbow.
Okay. Oh, yes.
And he seems to be alone. He is experiencing, whether it's drug induced or it is simply solitude induced, or whether it really is the sublime in nature. For a long and extended period, he is crying and laughing about the beauty of these two rainbows, and he's asking, what does it mean? And as we listen to it, I think as anybody would listen, if you listen to the whole thing, you find yourself laughing and you find yourself close to tears, because you recognize through his basically wild sounds how he is feeling these rainbows, how he is affected by nature, how he's affected by something that you, by the end of the video, which is not very long, you have come to think of as a miracle too. And so I'm going to say my avatar will be a double rainbow. Okay.
Not the double rainbow guy, but you're the double rainbow itself.
I was going to go with the double rainbow guy, but that might be... maybe it's actually the double rainbow that I'm not quite sure, Matthew.
All right. Sounds good. That's probably the best answer we've had to that question. That needs to be like the name of a collection later on down the road, like Double Rainbow or something. I don't know. I am the Double Rainbow, something.
Oh, good.
Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have John Dobbin, best-selling author of The Starving. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
For writing?
Yeah.
So what it looks like for my writing, an animal.
Or you, as a writer. For some reason for you, I picture a crow. Like I picture a little crow that you've named Poe just sitting on your shoulder.
Yeah. It could be. I'm thinking it's a bear. And I think of a bear because it's making me write. Like it's, if anything's going to motivate you, it's going to be I don't want to be eaten by a bear. And so he represents my goals, and he's like, you got to get there or you're going to be eaten.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm looking at right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Morgan Murray, author. Currently, he has the book Dirty Birds with Breakwater Book. If you had to, what would you choose as a mascot or avatar or animal companion for your writing life, for yourself as a writer?
I have a friend who, and I'm dubious of the science behind this, but she tells me I'm an otter.
Okay.
And you know what? That kind of works.
Yeah. Very Canadian thing to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Works. Okay.
What do otters do? I don't know. They don't build anything like beavers. They just kind of float around, so I'll take it.
They look after themselves. They float around. They eat fish, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds all right.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Ellen Curtis, who serves on the Wannell board and is the author of the Infinity series from Engine Books, as well as the editor of the From the Rock anthology. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
My writing Patronus is a sassy little snake who ain't got time for people coming and bugging her.
Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have Matthew Daniels, frequent contributor to the From the Rock series, as well as the author of the upcoming novel Diary of Knives. Matthew Daniels, as a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or animal self?
Well, anybody who knows me at all knows that I'm a big fan of ice dragons and like to describe myself as one. Despite the fact that a lot of people make fun of me and say that I'm a gummy bear or a hobbit. But right now, actually, I'm sitting at my desk in my study, and there is a ice dragon. It's a white knitted or crocheted sort of dude head that's sitting on my desk, and he's a cute little bubbly shaped dude. And my girlfriend made that for me as a little testament to like my love for ice dragons, because he does not look like terrifying and imposing. He's like, I'm a Hufflepuff and I'm here for hugs.
I see. Dragons are sentient and are therefore not animals.
Yeah.
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 Are we getting into that kind of level of specificity?
No, that's fine.
But yeah, that's kind of my go-to.
That sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have Brad Dunn, author of After Dark Vapors. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
I actually have an action figure of Splinter from from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes. Well, it also was from a toy store.
Yeah. And I
love Splinter.
I've always loved Splinter. I've always had a thing for rats. I had a couple pet rats growing up.
Yeah. Secret of Nim, Brian Jocks, Splinter.
Now, I watched the second Ninja Turtles movie, Secret of Ooze, so many times I wore out the ribbon on the tape.
Yep, me too. Except for the first one, but yeah.
I preferred the second one for some reason as a kid. And so I've always had the Splinter action figure that I've always had. When I played in a punk band, I used to bring him to every show and I'd put him on my amp.
Wow.
And so when I write and when I sit at my desk, he's at my desk. So Splinter's kind of my spirit animal, I guess I would say.
Have I ever, there's one comic that even talking about it makes me tear up. Have I ever told you about this?
I don't think so.
It's Ninja Turtles Volume 4. They kept doing with the original Ninja Turtles run, the adult run in the comics.
Okay.
They kept going like into the 2000s, right until the Viacom sale.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So by the time, and they aged the characters real time.
Okay.
So by the time
He's
30
old.
years have passed. Yeah, he's old, and they've stopped calling it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
It's called TMNT because they're actually in their 30s.
Right.
They had as soon as they stopped being teenagers, they had to just call it TMNT because it was 20s and 30s.
Right.
But yeah, Volume 4, Number 10, there had been this long arc where the turtles are in space.
Okay.
And then in issue 10, they cut back to the farm, like Casey's farm.
Yeah.
And Splinter's there. And he is an old rat by this point. And in the adult comics, there was always this theme of, like, the turtles are going to be long-lived because they're reptiles. Right. And all their friends are mammals. So they have to deal with, rather than deal with mortality, they have to deal with a certain level of immortality.
Right, yeah.
It's a very hard issue for me to read because Master Splinter reaches for the milk and has a heart attack and spends the entire issue stumbling from room to room looking for his sons and then dies.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Like, that's how Splinter... He doesn't die a warrior's death.
Yeah.
He dies alone at home
Yeah,
because he's
like
an
a
old
Michael
man.
Corleone kind of death.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sad.
It is
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
I don't think I'll ever read that.
No. It is hard to... It's hard to...
Yeah, I'd want
deal
him to
with.
go out with a warrior's death.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Then
breaks
there
my
was-
heart.
It is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad I know that I won't be reading the adult run.
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles.
Yep. You don't really Ninja Turtle. I love telling people who are only familiar with the 80s cartoon. It's like,
Right.
oh, what's the comics like? Well, the original comics, they killed Shredder in
Yeah.
the first issue and spent the following 100 issues dealing with the socio-political ramifications of killing a crime boss.
Right.
And that's it. They never fight a mutant. They never that's
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have J.R.H. Lawless, author of the novel Always Greener. Jay, as a writer in your writing life, not anything else you do, personal life or day job or whatever, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or animal companion or whatever you want to call it?
In the middle grade book, which I'm just finishing revisions on there currently, my main character, who is a 12-year-old, has a pygmy goat called Newton. So
That is amazing. My business partner is obsessed with them and has done goat yoga no less than a dozen times. She would lose her mind at that answer.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have Mary Walsh, author of Crying for the Moon. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
Oh, remember Philip Pullman's The Golden Compass? Did you read those?
I did.
His Dark Materials, weren't they the best? And then the
Yeah.
movie was so bad.
Yeah.
I have no idea, I never really think about, I like, okay, I know this is but when I was in Banff last year, bison were being reintroduced into the Banff National Park. They had been, and they'd come up from Yellowstone, and they'd actually been, they were actually the progeny of bison that had roamed on the plains for, so a bison, I'd say, a bison.
Yep. For
Or a
one?
caribou, actually. Forget the bison. It's a caribou.
Okay.
I mean, we actually met one on the trail in Gross Mourne, and how could we have ever changed our provincial animal from a caribou, the magnificent caribou, to a puffin? When did we become cute?
I don't know. I think we're
Yeah.
trying to Disneyfy ourselves for the tourism.
Yeah, really, but really caribou. I thought bison, but it's actually caribou.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. On the line now we have Kelly Power, president of the Writers Alliance of Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as contributing author to Chillers from the Rock and What's Written in the Ladies. Kelly Power, as a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or animal self? Or Patronus?
My Patronus. You can cut out the silence.
No.
The first animal that came into my head was an otter.
You are very odd, so that makes sense.
Yes, an otter.
Yeah.
Kind of playful and fun, but proficient.
Yeah.
And cute.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned what little French I know from an otter on Sesame Street. I love that otter.
C'est bon.
Yes.
Où est la toilette?
I don't know any French, but I know what I learned. I learned from that otter. I forgot it, but when I learned it, it was from that otter.
It was from that particular one.
That particular otter, and he had a gray bear and a Amelia Earhart style pilot as friends. And I learned since that that I didn't realize this, but Sesame Street and Fraggle Rock back in the day had this genius model that they still do, where if it's a 40-minute episode of TV, they will only film 35 minutes, and each individual territory produces the extra 5 minutes of content so that there's local content that has to deal with local things in each one. So I didn't realize, but that segment with the otter and the gray bear and the pilot, that's specific to Canada.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and I never knew that.
Never knew that.
Same thing with Fraggle Rock. So Fraggle Rock was exported all around the world because it was very popular. All the stuff down under with the Fraggles in the Fraggle hole, that was the same everywhere. But when they went up to the upstairs, like the real world, that was different in every region.
How clever of them.
Yeah, very clever. Like, that's just, yeah. And that way they didn't have to deal with dubbing either. Like, they didn't, like, it wasn't like someone speaking in their language over the English actor's mouth moving. They just hired local actors for the upstairs segments.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'd like to get your hands on some of those that aired in other countries.
I would. Also, if you're roughly the same age as me, which I believe you are, and you would like to be destroyed emotionally, go on and watch the last episode of Fraggle Rock, because I don't think you realize it. You assume that, like with most kids shows, it just stopped airing. It had a conclusion that will rip you apart. And I'm like, why is there this tragic ending to this children? God, the 80s was weird.
It was the era of the Dark Crystal as well.
It was.
So that says something.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Next up we have Aaron Vance, Editor-in-Chief of Engine Books and the editor of the From the Rock anthology series. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
I always think of myself as a fox. So
Okay.
I mean, like, that's it. But I don't know as a writer if I have one.
Okay. I feel like Evie.
I really like her because she has so many possibilities and she's really darn cute in every single one of them.
Yeah.
Including when she's just her plain self.
I actually like her best when she is a little fox.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Evie's the best.
Evie
And
is
it
the
also
best.
is my initials.
Yes.
So I think we've just figured that out.
Yes. Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have Sarah Thompson, who in February released her first book through Engine Books called The Love of Summer. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
Oh, I guess Raj.
Raj, your puppy?
Raj, my puppy. So he's a half husky, half beagle, very cool colored dog.
Half husky, half beagle.
Yep.
So that dog cannot be left alone.
Oh, he can, yeah. He's great. He won't destroy anything. He is completely free run. He doesn't need a leash at all.
Wow.
And if I leave him here in the house and I tell him to stay on the couch, he won't move from the couch until I come home.
Wow.
He's well trained, my son.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Tasha Madison, the author of Fabric of a Generation. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
Oh, that's easy. A lion. I am a warrior.
A lion. I see.
Yes.
All right.
I'm a fierce warrior. I think, thinking of lion, I think of strength. I think of the discipline of the hunt. I think of never giving up. So definitely a lion.
Cool. All right. Good answer. Thank you very much. Next up, we have BC Labeled, the Canadian independent author of the 10th Lunan Regiment series, a military sci-fi saga. He also writes an immersive dark fantasy series. His current titles include To Drown in Sand, Juris Lunans, To Drown in Ash, The Dog, Bone, and Upon a Wake of Flame. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
This sounds kind of trite, I think, but it's probably the wolf. You have to be...
You kind of look like a wolf person.
Thanks, I think. You have to be alone. You have to be competent. You have to really not care about the opinions of others. You have to work in shadow, and you have to keep going. Survival is paramount. Wow, that came off the top of my head quite quickly. So that must be the most appropriate response.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have Tracy Walden, who is from Trepassey, Newfoundland. She recently just put out a book through Breakwater Books called Send More Tourists, The Last Ones Were Delicious. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm terrified of mascots. I had this discussion with somebody the other day. So, like Buddy the Puffin. Sorry if you're listening, but I think you should be struck from St. John's Records and never seen again.
Okay.
I don't know.
Or a Patronus if you're into Harry Potter.
Example? Oh, I am into Harry Potter. I don't really... I mean, I feel like I have a muse. Like, I think there's something up there, something out there, something around here that's offering me ideas for stories or giving me stories whole. But I'm not sure what that thing looks like. Or it's probably listening right now, and I'm not going to get a good story for 6 months because I'm speaking about it. But that might be the closest thing that I can think of. But I don't really, other than that, my writing, I don't really consider it to be like a mystical thing or associate any kind of characters with it.
Cool. All right, sounds good. Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have author Shannon Green. Shannon Green is a gifted author with a talent for the strange and has been recognized in both the genre community and the contemporary literary community for his pursuits. In the past, he has been shortlisted for the 1996 Arts and Letters Award and has as well won the 2015 Audience Choice Steampunk Newfoundland Showcase. Green has received praise for his stories The Wine Dark Sea in Chillers from the Rock, as well as his stories in Fantasy from the Rock, Dystopia from the Rock, The Hamthology, and the just-released Flights from the Rock. Thank you for joining us, Shannon. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar or Patronus?
Probably my little black cat.
Okay.
Who is floating around in my house.
Okay.
If not, it'd be the much bigger, clumsier Tabby.
Cool.
Who's also floating around in the house.
So a cat.
Yes.
Yep, that's fair. Thank you very much. Next on the line, we have Kayla Krantz, who's calling in from Detroit. She's originally from Houston. She writes the Rituals of the Night series. Kayla Krantz, as a writer, what would you choose as your mascot or avatar if you had to choose one?
If I had to choose one, it would probably be a wolf. Because there's just something about them that's just haunting and mystifying, and that's like the kind of impression that I want my work to leave on people.
That's a popular answer, a wolf. I find that really interesting. There's something about writers that we just kind of gravitate towards that, I think.
I think it's the whole lone wolf thing.
Yeah, definitely. Also, genre writers like us, we like wolves are a big, I think more than any animals, are tied to genre fiction. Like, you could make the case of like vampires and bats, but that's not the same as wolves and werewolves, you know what I mean? Thank you very much. Next up, we have Rebecca North, author of Elliott and the Impossible Fish from Breakwater Books. As a writer, what would you choose as your mascot?
You mean like my avatar? Like
Yep.
if I were an animal sort of thing, or
If writer Rebecca North was an animal, what animal would she be?
That's a good one. I don't know. Maybe sorry. Maybe a puffin, because I feel like that's all my books so far have been about Newfoundland, and they've been kind of, well, the first one wasn't super funny. The next two were pretty humorous. So I don't know. I feel like a puffin's kind of just a humorous bird to look at. So maybe it would be a puffin.
Puffin's a very cute bird. Awesome. Yeah, that fits. All right, well, thanks for coming on again. For all of you, we'll be here again next week at 4:30 Newfoundland time or online at chmr.ca. Please tune in and we'll talk more about writing culture in Newfoundland.